Can I fix all my old character design fails? Hi, I'm Minx. I'm a new VTuber artist and I have so many old OCs. But today, one of my most special characters from my new fantasy world is getting a total glow up. New story, new outfit, new powers. I'm taking you along for the full redesign process. Will she finally look as cool as I imagined? Let's find out. Here she is, Xiu Yao, my very first OC from my world Lumetra. She comes from a land that lives completely in harmony with nature. I first created her back in 2023, but she never really felt like a true guardian. I tried several designs, but something was always missing. No presence, no power, just meh. So, she did have a cool tiger. Her name, Xiu Yao, means graceful jade or radiant noble beauty. I thought that really fits her. Your character should be visually readable before anyone reads a single line of backstory. Give them a clear visual hook. Glowing eyes, a unique hairstyle, a signature object or magical item. Like in anime. Design reflects story and personality. Every detail should say something about who they are. Alright, let's roast her. I want to love her, I really do, but be honest, what is this? The mood board, I still love it. I'm keeping that, but the actual design, a mess. She was originally some kind of Asian princess slash nature warrior. Then, as my world evolved, I came up with the concept of the White Lotus. Someone noble, divine, a guardian figure, what she should be. But she ended up looking like a random flower empress from episode 2. Or she does really look like a tree. The middle part of the design makes no sense. She was supposed to look high-ranking. She also wears a crown, but honestly, I had no clue what I was doing with it. Looks kinda weird. I also wanted her to be a kitsune, but it's barely noticeable. Her accessories don't match. You can't tell who she is or what she's supposed to be. And look, I drew her differently in every piece. Also, I really can't draw flowers. I still can't, and I seriously struggled with that. Not every cool detail belongs in your design. Ask yourself, does this serve the story or the silhouette? Pick 3 emotional keywords that define your character, then translate those into shapes, colors, and symbols. She needs a redesign badly. I love aesthetic mood boards, and I usually just pull them from Pinterest because I suck at making them from scratch. If you're making your own OCs, make a mood board, it seriously helps. So, Xiu Yao, she's a guardian of balance, maybe even the reincarnation of a goddess, the White Lotus. She doesn't fight with weapons, but she heals, she protects. But when she has to, she'll fight with her magic. Tie these 3 things to your character's look for deeper designs. Origin, show their roots with fabric choices, color palettes, or cultural patterns. Personalities, that pose, facial expressions, and silhouette tell their story. Backstory, goals, and trauma. Add scars, symbols, or habits that hint at what they've been through. I want her to look like a walking lotus blossom. Layered fabrics, flowing textures, small symbolic elements, and a hint of fog. I love traditional Han food, the shapes, colors, and how elegant they feel. I collected a bunch of inspiration from Pinterest and threw it all into Clip Studio. She needs to feel graceful, a little mystical, maybe even slightly sexy. I browsed through a lot of art. There was so much AI stuff, I didn't want to include it here, so I stuck to photos. I usually circle elements I like. For example, I really like this flower top part. And this pretty jewelry. And also I really like this flowing silhouette. Or like this one, for example. You should always look at references to find better design. But don't overdo the colors. Stick to 3 or 4 max or grab a ready-made palette from sites like Colors or something like that. References will save your art, I promise. I had a vision, but some of the silhouettes straight up bad. This one, way too much. That one, boring. But this, I really like it the most. I ended up mixing a few elements. Which one do you like the best? Comment it down below. Test your design in silhouette form. Is it instantly recognizable? Use iconic shapes, braids, asymmetry, standout accessories. They would contrast big versus small, round versus sharp. Now it's time to draw. Every detail matters. You should look at her and feel she's nature. She's calm, she's noble, serene, powerful. But poses are my weak spot. My characters always look a bit stiff. But I'm working on it. I wanted her to have a slightly smug, elegant expression, like she's looking down at you, but she's actually kind and wise. I always check Pinterest for poses, especially hands, and the 3D models in Clip Studio really help too. I went with a calm, balanced pose, holding a fan, cause yes, she fights with it too. Now, let me tell you her new background story. The legend of Xiu Yao, the White Lotus. Once, proud empires stretched across the land, built on walls of stone, seeking to rule over all living things. Rivers were tamed, forests were cut down, and ancient spirits were silenced. Anyone who resisted was labeled an enemy. It was during this time that Xiu Yao was born, the daughter of a spiritual advisor at the emperor's court, a man who still believed in the ancient balance between nature and people. He taught that the land was alive, that every tree held a story, and every breeze carried a message. When he discovered that deep within the sacred mountains, once the resting places of ancient beast spirits, greedy hands were digging and destroying, he refused to stay silent. Courageously, he spoke the truth before the ruler's inner circle and warned of the consequences that could no longer be ignored. But with that, he sealed his fate. He was cleared a traitor, his words twisted and dismissed as madness, publicly executed, defamed, dishonored, erased. On that day, Xiu Yao not only lost her father, but all hope for justice. Yet, instead of giving in to anger, she withdrew deep into the forgotten, untouched corners of the land. As the empire crumbled, not by war, but by its own decay, prophecy came true. Fields withered, rivers overflowed, and the ancient beast spirit returned, angry. People fled, cities fell into ruin, homes burned to dust. The land remembered and slowly began to heal. Xiu Yao wandered further into the wilds, places no human dared to enter. In old clearings and overgrown ruins, she listened to the whispers of nature. Wind, water, and roots spoke to her as if they had been waiting for her return. As a child, she had dreamed of a white tiger, a majestic creature with emerald eyes, roaming through misty forests. Her father called it Baihu, an ancient spirit of purity who once watched over the land. One night, in a moonlit bamboo grove, the tiger stepped out of the mist, bowed its head silently, as if recognizing something familiar in her, something long forgotten, and Xiu knew she was destined for something greater. The tiger spirit bound itself to her in an ancient quiet pact. No vows, no demands, only mutual recognition. Since that moment, Baihu became part of her. In her strength, her clarity, her instincts. When danger approaches, she feels his crawl beneath her skin. When she heals, he heals with her. She is not his master, but his echo. Together they became guardians of the natural order. The spirits returned one by one. From pain came peace, from memory came strength. What was once a girl became the voice of the earth. She was called the White Lotus, the rebirth of the nature goddess. Wherever she walks, burnt earth blooms anew. Whenever she speaks, animals and spirits come back. Even the most withered place awakens to life in her presence. Over time, abandoned villages turned into flourishing gardens. Crumbling temples became sanctuaries. In an ancient, overgrown place, she restored the Longling Temple, not from stone, but with blossoms, light and water. She built no throne. Instead, her seed grew from a glowing white lotus flower, surrounded by a living pond, and the stone animal spirits that had once been silent now awakened. The white tiger always watches by her side, sometimes visible, sometimes just the wind rustling through the trees. People came, first hesitant, then in droves. Refugees, seekers, the lost. They stayed, not because they were ruled, but because they found healing here. Not an empire, not a kingdom, but a living bond of people, beasts, spirits, and earth. Xiu Yao became the guardian, wise keeper of balance. She does not command, she listens, she leads those who seek protection and peace. Her magic flows through roots, wind, and water. And above it all watches, in silent movement, the spirit of the tiger. Now for the background of the character sheet. I've been practicing backgrounds lately, and putting your character in an environment makes it feel so much more alive. This one shows the soul tree, a living place that whispers. I'll tell you more about that another time. And now, drumroll please. Here's her final design, her complete reference sheet, and yes, her tiger is back. He can even change size now. I'm honestly so proud of how she turned out. She finally feels right. But what do you think? Did I improve her or did I change too much? Tell me in the comments. I definitely want to draw her more and keep building her story from here. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the squad. I already know who I want to redesign next, but soon you get to help me decide. In the next video, I'll show you an OC I really love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay mischievous. Bye bye, see you next time.